Hey guys, good evening and welcome to another video. It's been a little while since I put up a video on this channel, but I intend to make more, just on general boxing content and boxing history. I don't want to make those kind of cringy thumbnails where it's just X guy does this to Y. I don't think it's not really my style. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. I've decided to do a boxing tier list. It seems to be a bit of a flavor of the month, this sort of style of video, and I want to do one for boxing's all-time greats of this generation, the pound for pound list. So let's get into it. Up first, we have Anthony Joshua. Now, if you had asked me this a few months ago, I probably would have put him over there in S tier. He is very OP, insanely athletic, very talented, a gold medalist. I mean, he's tall. He's got it all for a great heavyweight. He has a great chin, as was shown by his fight against Vladimir Klitschko. However, his reputation has been a little bit stained as he lost to somebody that many people felt he had no right losing to. Now, keep in mind, heavyweight boxing there's always a risk you can get KO'd. Big guys have big power, and Andy showed that. And for that, Mr. Ruiz also gets to be put in the A tier. Lovely picture of his stomach, but Andy's a guy who doesn't get enough credit. He has a very good amateur pedigree, and many people, including Joe Parker, said he was a sleeper in the division. And he really showed that against Andy. He got dropped on his ass, and he came back and dropped AJ himself and finished him in the 7th round. So we might have one of the best heavyweights that no one expects to be the best heavyweight, but regardless, a very talented guy and deserves to be up there. Up next, we have Demetrius Andrade. As Andy's a sleeper in the heavyweights, we probably have the sleeper in the middleweights here, guys. This guy is flying under the radar for way too long. Very talented guy, 2008 Olympian. I've been following his career since he was actually at the Olympics. I remember watching him back then and just being so impressed by him. He was very young back then, and he's still a young guy. He's got time, and I would love to see him fight Canelo Alvarez and have some of his big career-defining fights. So for that, he's in B. And I think eventually, honestly, guys, with Demetrius, you could eventually see him in A or S. Super talented guy. Up next, we have Callum Smith of the UK. The UK just produces awesome fighters, guys, just awesome guys. And Callum's probably the best guy coming from the UK right now. He's the Ring Magazine super middleweight champion, and I'm going to put him actually up there in A tier. He's on a short list also, guys, to fight Canelo, and I'm not sure if that's a great fight for Canelo. Callum is 6'3". He's muscular, he's athletic, he's talented. He's got everything going for him, and I'm not sure if that's a good move for Canelo. Canelo is very good himself, obviously, one of the best of this generation, but he can't keep fighting guys who are this big. When you fight someone who's as talented as you and they're that much bigger, eventually you're going to lose just by virtue of the fact that they're just way bigger dudes. So I would like to see him move back down to middleweight, or maybe even junior middleweight, and continue his streak there. Up next, we have Canelo Alvarez. Without any need to explain, that dude's an S tier all the way. Super OP, super athletic, high ring IQ, one of the best trained boxers out there. Canelo deserves to be on S tier, probably more than anyone on this list, for sure. Maybe other than this gentleman, Bud Crawford. He's going up there in S tier. You guys know who Bud Crawford is. Undefeated. Oklahoma boy. This dude just wallops everybody. Jose Benavidez Jr., one of the top prospects from Freddie Roach prospect, made him look stupid. This guy is probably the best American fighter right now. This guy is just so good. I want to see him have some of those bigger fights. I want to see him fight Errol Spence. I want to see him fight Shawn Porter, and he's going to have those fights. He's open to them, and he's a switch hitter. He can do orthodox southpaw. He's an all-around package, guys. Super overpowered. For sure needs a nerf. Danny Garcia, prominent welterweight, and unfortunately hasn't performed that well when he has his career-defining fights. Fights well, but he fights guys who are just maybe just a notch better than he hasn't really been able to pull his big one yet, other than that KO of Amir Khan. But, KOing Amir Khan, it's not really. Anyways, so Deontay Wilder, where do we put him? I'm going to put him in A. Now, in terms of a technical boxer, for sure he should not be up there that high. You watch this guy just throw some stupid punches. And he started boxing late, guys. He was, I think, 19 when he started. And his story is heart-wrenching, actually, by the way. You just can't help but love the guy. He fought for his daughter, who has a disability. He comes off as a bit of a narcissist, but it's just the way he promotes himself. And he says stuff like sometimes he wants a body on his resume. I don't think he really means that. It's just his style. He's brash. He's over the top. And it's really exciting to see an American tearing stuff up like this. And I think if Deontay was a guy who was around in the 80s or the 90s, he would have been a megastar. It's just unfortunate right now boxing just doesn't garner the same kind of audience it did back then, at least not in America. Dylan White, where should he be placed? I'm going to put him in B. Another really, really talented guy from overseas. The UK produces just animals over there. Just look at any division. You're going to find great fighters pretty much anywhere you look. Dylan hasn't had those career-defining wins yet. He actually just tested positive for steroids in his last fight against Oscar Rivas, my countryman, and that was unfortunate, but I think in due time, when he gets his chance, Dylan can give a great fight to any of the top heavyweights. He already fought AJ, gave him a great fight until AJ knocked him out. But I think he would easily beat Ruiz. I think he would be a good match for Deontay. One of the top guys in the world for sure, at least in terms of heavyweights. Errol Spence Jr. Where do you think this guy deserves to be, guys? I think S tier eventually, but he needs to have more career-defining wins. And yeah, he's just not there yet. He's fought, he beat the hell out of Mikey Garcia, who was just way too small to be fighting him in the first place. So until he fights guys like Ben Crawford and gets bigger wins, he actually beat Shawn Porter, who's a really talented fighter as well, but he just needs more wins. He needs more consistency. And I hope he's okay after that car crash. I actually haven't read into it too much, but hopefully he's okay. You guys can maybe let me know in the comments. Gervonta Davis. Think of taking Floyd Mayweather's ring IQ and boxing intelligence and combining it with Mike Tyson level power. This dude is just insane, guys. I can't wait to see what this guy does in the future. OP as hell, super strong. He gets to go in A. Triple G, unfortunately fading with age, as all boxers do. He's sort of at the tail end of his career, and that's where most of his big fights have been. Would love to see him have another fight against Canelo, but time will tell if that's going to happen. Got to put him in A. If you'd asked me, 3 years ago, I would put him up there in S, but he's had some nerfs over the last few years, and he's unfortunately fading with age, as it happens to everybody. Gilberto Ramirez, super talented Mexican. Would love to see him fight Canelo in a sort of Cinco de Mayo all-Mexican showdown. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. Would have loved to have seen him fight Callum Smith at super middleweight, but he's moved up. I really need to see him fight some guys who put some luster on his resume, because right now he just fights a bunch of unknowns and does well, but he needs to test himself. He's tall, he's talented, he's a southpaw. Would love to see him get some bigger fights, but he just hasn't had it yet. Hopefully in the future he fights some big fights, and hopefully again I really want to see him fight Canelo. Jamal Charlo, I'm gonna put him up there in A. Probably one of the best Americans fighting in the game right now. His brother Jamel actually just lost in a really close decision to Julian Williams. They're a really cool story. They're twin brothers. They look pretty much identical. They're both really talented. They both dominate their divisions, well, they were. And I would love to see this guy fight Canelo. I want to see Canelo fight some Americans and fill up the Staples Center. That's what excites me. And I think he's definitely one of the guys who could upset him. Sergei Crusher Kovalev. Hard to say with this guy, He's one of the best of this generation, at least at the light heavyweight. I got to put him in A. He gave Andre Ward two hell of a fights. I thought he won that first fight, actually, and the second fight was just an unjust stoppage, in my opinion. He got KO'd by Canelo, a smaller guy, but again, Canelo's just super overpowered, so there's no shame in losing to him. Leo Santa Cruz, consistent, great fighter. Watch his fights against Carl Frampton, one of the best technical boxers, smaller technical boxers for sure. Just search him on YouTube, guys. He's super, super talented. Vasyl Lomachenko, another guy who is certainly up there in S tier. If you guys ever watch Vasyl, it's just insane. His boxing IQ, his skills, how mechanical he is, how he moves, his angles, it's just something you don't see. And he's the kind of guy who just makes great boxers look not amateurish, but just watch his fights against Jorge Linares, watch his fights against Gary Russell Jr., guys who are just insanely talented, and he just picks them apart like it's surgery. It's just insane to watch. Manny Pacquiao, I don't care what none of you guys say, he's going in S tier. That guy is a legend, a living legend. He's got wins over everybody in his generation. Not everybody, but probably the best boxer other than Floyd of the last 20 years in terms of name recognition and just overall boxing pedigree and resume. A guy I love watching. Hopefully he retires soon, because I don't want to see him fighting and kind of go through a Muhammad Ali kind of retirement where he fights guys who he should be beating. But hey, he just beat Keith Thurman, so apparently he still got it. Miguel Berchelt, super strong hitting, smaller guy. I think he's a super featherweight. Would have loved to have seen him fight Vasyl Lomachenko. Unfortunately, Lomachenko's moved up now. Who knows if they'll clash in the future? But from Berchelt, really, really high KO percentage. But I just need to see more out of him. I haven't seen those big fights yet, and hopefully in the future we see him. Mikey Garcia, if you had asked me a while ago, I would have put him up there, maybe up in S, relatively untested, but he just got stomped by Errol Spence, a guy who is just also very talented, but was just way too big. I need to see Mikey get some bigger fights, but I'm going to put him up there in A. You talk to anyone in the boxing world, this guy's dad is one of the best trainers in the game. He's been boxing since he was can walk. Very, very talented. He just needs to fight guys his own size. I think he got a little too overzealous with himself, moving up too fast, and I think he needs to take a step back, get to a weight division where he's comfortable size-wise, and he can, rack up some career-defining wins there. Inoue, Japan's monster. This guy is just so cool, guys. Watch his fights. Naoe Inoue on YouTube. KO power in both hands. He has scary heavyweight power being as small as he is. You know, when smaller guys have power, it's often snap, it's technique. But this guy, he hits guys like he's a heavyweight. There's the way he hits, it devastates them. Just search him up, guys. His last fight against Donaire, an aging great fighter, put up a great fight, but he pulled it through for sure. Hopefully some more career-defining wins. Maybe he needs to move up a few weight classes, because those small divisions just don't garner a lot of excitement internationally. Gary Russell Jr., really fast boxer, American, former Olympian, probably the fastest hands in boxing. He needs to get more tested. He's defending that WBC strap, which unfortunately doesn't just really impress a lot of people. You really need to take, the strides to unify divisions. You need to fight other champions. You need to fight the big names. And if you're just fighting B-level fighters defending an alphabet soup strap, no one's going to pay attention to you. Shawn Porter, stacked welterweight. That division's my favorite division, guys, and it looks like A level's full. So I'm putting Shawn in A. The guy is just so talented. He's so great. Watch his fights. All of his top level fights are so close. He never loses by a wide margin. Looks like A is full. Damn. I guess that's how it is. Keith Thurman. Unfortunately, I got to put him in B, guys. He beat Porter. He beat Garcia. But he's been plagued by injuries, and he hasn't really been able to prove himself in terms of consistency, and that's what we really need to see. He just fought Manny Pacquiao, put up a hell of a fight, but Pacquiao, an aging Pacquiao, I might add, got the better of him. Tyson Fury, going up there in S tier. Hell yeah, dude. Tyson Fury's just so good. Super tall, super athletic, super fast. He's his own worst enemy when he gets low. But so long as this guy can stay on top of the game, I think he's the best heavyweight in the world. Just watch the way he fights. He fights like a Philly shell kind of Floyd Mayweather, except in like a bloody 6'9" body. It's just so cool to watch. And he really should have beat Wilder in that fight, but he didn't get the win. And a lot of people said he got exposed against Otto Wallin, but Otto is maybe there's something more to him than we were giving him credit for. And lastly, we have Alexander Usyk, former gold medalist, another insane Olympian, and it's hard to say, but I'm gonna put him in A. I think he's someone who could definitely be in S tier, but he just needs to prove himself a little more at heavyweight. Again, in light heavyweight, he's had some pretty close fights. Tony Bellew was actually winning the fight on the scorecards until he KO'd him. Myris Briedis gave him a really good fight. But, Murat Gassiev was supposed to be a really close fight, and he dominated him. So it's just stylistically, it depends who he fights. I am a little bit worried for him at heavyweight. I think he's going to struggle against guys like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua just by virtue of their size. But, time will tell. Usyk's got insane skills. His IQ is very high. He's a southpaw. He's unorthodox. He's fast. He's got everything there. It's just I'm not sure how well he'll do at heavyweight. Anyways, guys, that concludes my list. I hope maybe if you maybe agree with it. If you don't, let me know in the comments below, and you tell me what you think. More videos to come in the future. And yeah, guys, take it easy. Subscribe if you like the content. And yeah, guys, the Sullivan's back. Cheers.